so let's go over the kind of things that we're going to be talking about. This is on, by the way, it's on page 58 of your text. A couple of things we're going to learn, if you can see up here, is we're going to go over the format painter, which you may have used that in Word or as an Office thing, which will take the format from a cell and apply it to other cells, kind of copying and pasting, but only pasting the format. We'll talk about formatting text, which I'm sure you guys have done to a great level. We'll talk about formatting numbers. You know, there's different kinds of formats with currency, accounting. We'll talk about formatting some dates, changing fonts, rotating contents of cells, merging cells. We'll talk about cell styles. Okay, that's something we can do with a cell. Fill colors, borders, all those kind of things, increasing the decimals, which I know that some of this stuff isn't earth-shattering to you as well, but we got to make sure that we cover that ground. So what we'll do first is there is usually a tutorial that walks through each chapter. So for Module 2 there is as well. So if I go back to Module Tutorials, Tutorial Module 2, Module 2 data files, you'll see a folder down at the bottom says tutorial. So this is kind of like a test file that we kind of play around with some of these things. Okay, so go under tutorial, and we want xercomp.xlsx. And I'd like you to click on that and open that up. Now the book goes through a lot of these things that I go through step by step. I kind of skip over a lot of things. Not skip over. I guess I make sure, the book is very, 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 very detailed. Do this step, and this step, and this step. And you really could do it on your own without me here. I kind of just get to the, this is the skill we want to teach, so let's do it once. Let's do it here. But you can also follow along with that. Samantha, do you have a question? No. Okay. So bring this up, XRComp. You see this workbook has 3 sheets: documentation, yearly sales, and monthly sales. In general, every worksheet you start with or workbook you start with is going to have a documentation tab. And this is where you're going to put your name and the date that you work on this. So let's just play around with a couple things. Let's go into B4. And I know this is something you guys have seen before. I'm just going to put my name in author. We know how to change font style. Obviously, we can click on under the Home tab under the font. There's several styles we can choose from. Those fonts also have sizes associated with them. So I changed mine to 20. There's sometimes you see, like, for example, there's size 12 predefined and size 14. Maybe I have my heart set on 13. Well, maybe you didn't know you could actually type 13 in that box and it makes it 13. Doesn't really apply too much. I'm sure there's not much difference between 12 and 14. But you see the bigger the fonts get, the bigger the gaps. For example, we see 36 to 48 and then 48 to 72. Well, maybe you really want font size 50. You can type it in that box and it makes it exactly font size 50, okay? Let's see a couple other things. I'm just going to make it something normal there again. So font size was the first thing. Arrow. I think you guys all understand this is bold. This is italicized and this is underlined. Don't want to go gloss over that too quickly. Let's take the name of the the company, which is Exercomp, and we'll make that a little bit bigger. We'll change the font to something more significant. And let's say I want to make the fonts itself a different color. I can do that on the font group, we have a font color. A couple things, and this is something you may not be familiar with. Under all this stuff you see automatic, okay, you see theme colors and standard colors. What's the difference between those? Do you guys know what the difference is between those? And we'll talk about this at the end of this section. By default, there's a theme applied to a workbook or a worksheet. The default theme is something called the Office theme, okay, which means when you have a heading, it has like a blue tint to it, but there's other themes you can have. And maybe if you work for a company, they may have their own theme. You want to, if you work for Target, I'm sure it's going to be red themed, or if you work for M&T Bank, it's going to be green themed. So the theme colors that are comprised of those themes are the ones up above. And if I change it to a theme color and then change the theme of the workbook, guess what? That color is going to change as well. The standard colors are colors that are always in effect, if you will. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter what theme I am, these are the standard colors. So let's use a standard color. Let's take Exercomp and make that font, let's say that bright red is nice, okay? And I want to go a little further. I got to make sure I'm in edit mode to do this, okay? I want to click in that cell, get in edit mode, double click in it, and then maybe highlight the comp portion of Exercomp. And let's make that second portion a different standard color. Let's make that second portion, I don't know, blue. Okay, so to do that, I have to be in edit mode though. I can't just highlight the whole cell, because I have to go in and edit and select half of that content. So that did that. Fill color, I believe, you guys have done that as well. If we want to change, let's go to your name, and then in the font group as well, there's a little bucket of paint. This is the background color, so we can change that as well. Although I've never really had a purpose to do this, we can also apply a background image to the entire workbook. Okay, right now there is no image, it's just the white background. But maybe I want to apply a certain image to it. If I go to the page layout ribbon and go up above, you see background. And there's one in Blackboard, but just find one on your computer. It can be you and your boyfriend or whatever it might be. So click on, find a sample picture, because we're going to get rid of it anyways. Penguins, I like penguins. So I'm going to insert a penguin background. So, no, I think that kind of uglied it up. It doesn't change any of the content of the cells. You see the fill color is still in effect. The content is the same, but now I have penguins on my background. To remove that, obviously under page layout, you can delete a background. Okay, so some people do that. They may put their company logo very transparently behind that, or official seal or something to that effect. We're not really going to do much with that.
Is there any way to make it transparent in Excel, or does it already have to be?
I don't think so. I think you have to put it in a picture editor, make it transparent, and then insert it. Yeah, I believe, because under that background, there's really, if you notice, there wasn't many options on there. I don't think so anyways. Background, yeah, just basically insert one or not insert one. I didn't see anything about changing the transparency of it. You'd have to do that in another program. Let's see what else we can do. Let's add a background. Let's go to the yearly cells tab. It wants us to total units sold and revenue here. So please, in cells B15 and B26, we'll put the label total. And it's looking for us to sum this. So in C15, D15, let's highlight those and we'll use auto sum. Looks like it did it correctly. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to copy that down to my C26 and D26 as well. Okay, it wants us to figure out a percentage increase. So in cell E6, let's put in a label percentage increase. And we'll do the same in E17. And let's enter a formula. I think I skipped a step, but that's okay. Let's just go to percentage increase. Let's put in equal. And I'm going to do open parentheses. Obviously, order of operation. I think that was in module 1, but I didn't really go through it because you guys know order of operation. Parentheses comes first. I want D7 minus C7. And then I want to divide that by the 2011 cell. So divide by C7. So the percentage increase. And then obviously I want to copy that down. Now, I didn't really go through this, but I think we've talked about this before. Give me one way I can copy that down. I could drag it down. Okay, if I grab that little box at the arrow, drag it down. What's another way I can do it? Go ahead, Alex.
Is it fill down?
Okay, the other thing I could do is I could highlight this area, and under fill, you can say fill down. Okay, and it fills down. You know that it brings that down. Obviously, you guys know this arrow is undo. You know, I can copy and paste as well. I can do Control C, Control V for keyboards. You guys know there's many ways to do that, whichever way you're more comfortable with. So anyways, I'm going to highlight that and bring it down to this group as well. Okay, a couple things it wants us to do is make this look a little prettier. You guys, I'm sure have used this before. Let us, I don't know, I guess the first one is units. So let's take this grouping, so from C7 the whole way down through C15. And it adds to clarity, if you will, if we add commas here. So a couple ways we can do that. Under the Home tab in the number grouping, there is a button, a thumbnail for comma style, so it'll insert the comma where appropriate. and actually changed it to accounting. I can get rid of or add decimal points using the little thumbnail there. If I want to, anytime you see a little corner like that, that expands that selection. So we can go through here and we can see a lot of predefined number styles. Uh-oh. Okay, so a lot of predefined. So there's general, there's number, there's currency, accounting, time, all those good things. Or I can use the shortcut. While we're at it, let's make percentage a percentage. Okay, and let's add a couple decimal places. Let's go down here to the revenue, and I think it makes most sense to show currency in currency format, or accounting format actually. So let's use accounting format. We could use currency. And let's make these percentage as well. Well, I'll tell you what, instead of just doing that on our own, let's use Format Painter. So I'm going to highlight this section, go to Format Painter, click on Format Painter, and now whatever I touch with this next stroke, see a little brush, will be painted with that same format. So it's like painting the format onto these other cells. Sometimes I have, let's make a few of these things bold. So I'm just going to make this bold and italicized. And maybe I want to do that for certain values, but they're not adjacent, okay? And I want to do it multiple times. If I click on the Format Painter twice, okay, now it's like active every cell I click on. Okay, so I'm keep painting that format, and then I can click off of it to turn it off. But if I click on it twice, it stays active for longer than one click. You know, I can format many things at once. I'm going to go off topic here, just to kind of show you some of the things the book shows you, but kind of do it a little quicker. A lot of times it's nice to indent things so that we can bring that out a little bit. If we go under alignment, under the Home tab, you know, we can indent the text within a cell. So I can indent region 1 a little bit. As you guys know, under alignment as well, there are options for horizontal and vertical alignment. So I want this text centered. Another tool that is in this section is oftentimes we want to merge cells. Okay, so let's take this title in A4, X310 yearly sales analysis, and drag it from A4 through E4. And under alignment, click on merge and center. Okay, so now all those cells are referenced as the original, the first cell. You notice now when I'm on those, it doesn't say A4 through E4 anymore. Up in the name box, you see it just says A4. Okay, so it becomes one cell. Let's do units sold. Let's merge and center that downward. So let's take A6 through A15 and merge and center that. That looks like hell. How can we correct that? What would you do to correct that, perhaps? Couple things. Go ahead, Lorraine. Go ahead.
I don't know what it's called, but
We'd like to rotate the text. Is that what you mean, Lorraine? So under alignment,
that's not a.
we can rotate. Well, let's do that first. We can rotate the text up. Okay. And then this is where, really our vertical alignment comes into play as well. When we're talking about merging cells across a row. Trying to think if there's anything else. Just take any cell and enter a date in today. What's today, the 15th? Let's enter today's date in here somewhere. And recognize it as a date. If we go under number, you'll see there is a short date, which is what we're seeing right now as a predefined format. There's also a long date that will look up the day of the week for you as well and give you everything spelled out. Okay, we kind of left off today on page 77. I didn't go through, how about borders? I didn't go through borders. Under font, there's border style, under that little drop down, and there's all kind of borders we can do. Okay, so we can look at that. But we're going to start on page 77. So save where you're at. Save this. This isn't something you're going to turn in, but save it. And on Friday, we'll start here. Okay, and I'm sure all that stuff, most of that stuff was reviewed to you. But I think maybe we get the cell styles and office themes and conditional formatting in this module. Maybe new things for you. Okay. Have a good day. If you have any questions, please stop by my office.